So speaking of surprises, I was not expecting this book to be available when I was putting together this order. Hey there, today I have an unboxing video, and this order that I'm going to open is from Dark Dominion Comics. And I was really targeting one very, very specific book. It was an incentive, and they happened to have it. And uh, instead of just ordering the book on its own, I wanted to see if I could unlock a discount. And with Dark Dominion Comics, the way to do that is to go through their new comic book day bundling interface. And I've learned a little bit of a lesson there where when you put the comics together in the bundle, and they sort of create a price around the bundle, and then in your receipt and your invoice and your order history, you can't actually see what those individual items cost. And it's really not a big deal, but I track everything. I want to see what each book cost. So you'll see at the end of this video, when I go through the order analysis, I did kind of have to give a rough estimate to a few of the books. I had to go back and see what they cost and remember which discount did I unlock. So it's not really straightforward if you do a lot of online ordering like I do, but in any case, it doesn't really matter as long as you're unlocking that discount and you're bundling the books. What is great is the discount applies to those new comic book day books that you're ordering, but it also applies to any book that you're able to add to the bundle. Now, you can't always add any book they list on the site. You have to go through and select so many books to unlock a certain discount tier, and then through their interface, they have something they call a treasure chest. And it's exactly what it sounds. There's comic book treasures inside, and you can select one and add it to your order. So within their new comic book day bundling interface, the incentive that I wanted was in there. Another incentive that I kind of wanted, wasn't sure if I should chase. It was there. I added it anyway, and I was able to get that. So if the incentive it becomes unlocked through the new comic book day interface, you can certainly order not necessarily multiples of that incentive, but you can order multiple incentives of different books, and then go in and into the unlocked treasure chest area, and then you can pick one of those items. I'm used to seeing new releases or maybe the same books in there. And when I saw this one, it was rather timely. I was surprised. And I think what's going to be interesting is I don't doubt for a second that they're aware of this book, the book's significance, the character that's going to be showing up in an MCU movie very soon. I won't give it away completely, but I know that they know what they were doing, but do I know if they know what grade the book is in? So that's what we're going to find out in this unboxing. I want to see if, these incentives and the treasure chest items are living up to the hype, because from your everyday comic book ordering experience, Dark Dominion is rising in my personal charts in terms of shipping quality, comic book condition, overall grade. And I want to see if the couple of incentives that I got and that treasure chest item will either add and contribute to the great service and quality books I'm getting, or will it subtract from it? So let me get to the unboxing. We'll see the comics inside, maybe grade a couple of them. And then at the very end, I'll go through and show you what I paid for the bundle in general. And then we'll see how I did. So here we go. All right, here is that order from Dark Dominion Comics, sent USPS priority mail in this medium priority mail box. So let me go ahead and get this open. All right. So the first thing I notice is it's not the Dark Dominion branded box. They did send a sticker, darkdominioncomics.com. Probably because there are too many books, or it just doesn't fit the standard size, or whatever. So let me go ahead and try and get the rest of these books out of here. I'd like to share them in a particular order, if possible. Let's see here. All right, so maybe this one first. All right. Probably could have just removed them one at a time, but wanted to kind of ramp up a little bit with some of these books. The first one is a free comic book day book. Now, if you don't have an LCS to go to, I mean, I have some LCSs, I just don't frequent them. And I didn't feel like just going in and picking up the free comic book day books. You end up having to order them online, and it's sort of weird to order a free book. So what Dark Dominion did is they had these free comic book day books for 1 penny. So this is the Avengers X-Men Eternals Judgment Day free comic book day from 2022. Looks pretty cool. Love these. I throw them out on the coffee table and just read them, let other folks read them. And yeah, they're great. So I'm happy that they had this one. They had several others, but by the time I checked out, they were out of stock. I think I have a few, maybe either coming from Midtown or things from another world. I'm not a free comic book day person, so I don't really get into the hype of all that. I think it was in 2020 I fell for it and scrambled and ran from store to store trying to get them, and ended up buying books from different comic book stores because I felt guilty, and it was all for naught. It was not really worth the trouble. What I do with these, other than read them, is when I'm done, these are great for practicing pressing on. So a good idea if you're not into free comic book day, or maybe some of the titles aren't really interesting to you, get them anyway, because they're great to kind of beat up and roll and do different things, or give them the old Midtown special and jam them into the corner and bend them and stuff like that. You can recreate all those fun in transit shipping sort of defects that you get, and then practice pressing, because they're not always like the exact same number of pages, so you have to kind of think about that too. But you could just just blast it with humidity, see what happens. They're just it's just all kinds of fun you can have with those. All right, so you've been staring at this book for a while. They had Spawn 327 for cover price. This was not part of the bundle. I did have to buy this separate from the bundle, which again, I'll go over all of those numbers here in a little bit. But this McFarlane cover for Spawn 327 has continued to provide really, really good value for a cover price book. A lot of stuff going for it. Obviously, Spawn, McFarlane cover, homaging himself, even the upside down guy right here on the front, just like he used to do back in his Marvel days. I love this Forment instead of Torment. It's fun, it's great art, and it has so many different things from a collectability standpoint, so I can see why CGC 9/8 of this are somewhere between $75 and $100. So really great pickups at cover price. All right, I'm going to cheat here and peek a little bit. Yeah, and keep going. This was the other book that I had to pay, or I guess add to the order separately. This is Captain Carter #1. So what Dark Dominion does is, and I like this, I don't mind this as a buyer, is they limit one per customer. I like it for two reasons. For one reason, it allows for more supply to be available to more people, and I love that. I'd rather everyone have a copy of Captain Carter 1 than for me to have 500. It's better for the hobby. It's better for everybody. The other reason I love it is you can search sites like Dark Dominion, Midtown, and others where they put limit one per customer in the title. And it's a really great way to find either books that are heating up or books that stores want to limit, obviously. and you can actually search limit one per customer in their search box and see all the books that they're limiting. So Captain Carter, I didn't order this book heavily, this cover A. This is actually only my second copy of cover A. I ordered more of the 1 in 10 and 1 in 25 incentives. So cover A seems to be the one that people are gravitating towards. So I was happy to get that. Now the rest of these are part of this bundle. This is Radiant Black 14. I'll be honest, I gave up on Radiant Black. I went like crazy all in on issue 1, multiple copies of each incentive. I got the 1 in 50. I just kind of went nuts on Radiant Black. And then I bought the next couple of issues and never went back and read it. And for some reason, I think I just sort of, I don't know, kind of oversaturated my own collection where a big portion of my image bin, my Image Comics bin, was all Radiant Black. This one is the homage to Hulk 340, the Wolverine, with Wolverine on the cover. It does note after McFarlane, which is nice, so it's a homage there. So I just figured, again, in order to unlock the discount that I was going for with Dark Dominion, you had to order some number of books. So I hadn't really ordered a Radiant Black book since issue 3 or 4. This is issue 14. So this will go right at the end of that Radiant Black run in my Image Comics bin. But those homage covers, people kind of get tired of them, but there's always some section of the collecting community that likes them, that wants to acquire them. So I feel like you kind of can't go wrong by picking them up at cover. All right. So this one I had heard a lot about. This is I Hate This Place #1 from Image Comics. I'd like to read this one. I love the title. There's a mature or an explicit, I should say, explicit version of the title, which I think I pre-ordered. I'm not sure. I know I've got it coming from somewhere, but the title alone had me. I hate this place. I say it so naturally. So I'm looking forward to reading this one, and I've heard some good things about it. So I wanted to grab. This is just cover A. So a lot of times when people are chasing exclusives, and I do that as well. I'm looking for exclusives and particular covers and artists and so forth. Sometimes when things get saturated, everybody kind of goes back and takes a look at that cover A. So this is cover A for that series. All right, Adam Hughes, another kind of can't miss artist. This is Alice Ever After #2. This is the FOC reveal. It's not an incentive though, but it is the Adam Hughes cover for this. He was supposed to do half of the issue 1 cover with J. Scott Campbell. I mean, that's what I heard, but Campbell did the whole thing, and then Hughes did the second cover. I like what Hughes did here. The depth of field on this one, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it is really interesting. So you've got the hat and the rabbit kind of in the foreground, and it's blurred, and Alice is in focus, and Hughes is amazing. He's great, but really just interesting perspective on this one here. There is like a virgin cover variant things. This is just a cover price, non-incentive Hughes cover. I love it. Colors are great. It's kind of faded, mystical, or you're kind of in a dream state sort of thing. So really cool here. Okay, next one is Duo #1 from DC Comics, written by Greg Pak. It's a great cover by DK Ruan. I don't know much about it, but with a lot of the creators that are involved with the book, I'll often seek out books like this that have creators that I believe in, that I have enjoyed in the past, and just sort of not necessarily follow them, but when new books come out. You got Greg Pak, Koi Pham, Scott Hanna, DK Ruan on cover. I just feel like there has to be some aspect where this is going to be worth my time and money, and so I go ahead and pick these up. Next one is X-Men Red #2. I think I grabbed this one It's written by Al Ewing. Um, I picked this up, Russell Dodderman on cover. Uh, I'm kind of a sucker for, again, combinations of things. So we've got Russell Dodderman, who I love, uh, doing the cover art, Al Ewing writing, with Storm on the cover. So a lot of these things start to check the boxes, and hard for me to pass up. Um, I'm not a huge fan of like all of the offshoots and spin-offs of the main titles. I really just wish they would make great stories within the main title, but I get it. There's lots of creators and lots of stories, and you have to do things like X-Men Red, Blue, and Gold, and I get it, but I really just wish there were fewer spin-offs and miniseries and more like let's pick the absolute very best and put that in the main title. Okay, next one. Dr. Aphra number 20. Kind of wrapping up the Crimson Reign storyline, or I think we are at this point. This book kind of heated up a little bit. Uh, there's all of these funky reasons why books become desirable, valuable in this day and age. And there were rumors of Aphra's either powers or she's getting powers or her powers changing. So that was the spec on this book. My spec is just Aphra herself and getting as many Aphra books as we can, because as the Aphra universe starts to unfold within Star Wars, who knows which characters are going to kind of come along and be her supporting cast. So I wanted to. It's just a. I don't necessarily subscribe to the Aphra title, but I'm always trying to pick up single issues of anything with her in it. Venom Lethal Protector number 2. This one I was not collecting, I wasn't buying, but I love the cover. This reminded me of the early McFarlane Venom, where, before we got the Eric Larson, like super long, crazy tongue and the giant, jagged teeth, it was just kind of like a smiling Venom. So if you remember, like in, I think it's 350, ASM 315, it's the one where it's like the first Venom on the cover, but it's just his head and he's just kind of smiling and he's, I don't know, it just reminded me of that when I saw it. I was like, you know what, I'll grab a copy of this. It's great. Really, really fantastic art and perspective here on this one. The nice thing, if you are reading this, is it is written by David Michelini, who I believe co-created Venom. I don't know who actually gets the credit for it, but Michelini is a longtime classic ASM writer. So you got a little nostalgic vibe there for Michelini writing those as well. All right, so let's see. I think all we have left are these three. Let me just grab the one that's face up first to make it easy. This is Shadow Warzone number 1. This is the Leatrix Lee incentive variant. I remember when I first saw it, I thought it was gorgeous. I love the red and the black. I mean, it's hard to draw night without it just being a completely dark cover. But this really gives sort of a really dark, dreary, ominous, overcast type of background and look to this. And also kind of like her leg coming up in the foreground like that, like just a really great perspective. I thought it was a really, really interesting piece. Lyrics Lee, I think I said Leatrix, Lyrics Lee. I have some of her books. She's kind of an up and coming cover artist, and you'll see, I think DC more and more is taking, I think, more of those dynamite artists or store exclusive type artists and having them contribute to their main titles, either on the covers themselves or on their incentives. So really great to see Lyrics Lee here in Shadow Warzone number 1, and this character here, her first cover appearance as well. So a lot of things going for it, and this was part of, and that was one of the books available in their new Comic Book Day bundle. All right, let's see. All right, I'll do the book that I was surprised to see. So like I said, at the beginning, once you've ordered so many books and you've unlocked a certain discount, you can then access this treasure chest area where there's just an assortment of books to choose from. You don't have to. You don't have to buy anything from there, but I will go in there and click around and see, and you can't access some of these books from their regular search. It's kind of, again, I like the fact that they really do make it kind of like a treasure chest. It's a little bit harder to find or harder to navigate, so it makes it a little fun. So the book that I found is Thor #1. This is the Jane Foster Thor. I'm really quite surprised. Now, when you see what I paid for it, I paid fair market value for it, but this is kind of why I collect the data and I grade books and I store it and I track it, is because the assumption that I made, and I'm going to open this up and take a look here in a second. The assumption that I made is, if, let's say, Dark Dominion is averaging somewhere between a 9.6 and a 9.8 on their books, why would this be any different? It's listed on their site as if it's a new book in terms of the layout, the ordering system. It didn't have a sticker with VF on it or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and blindly assume that it too would be available in near mint. So let's find out. Extremely timely with Thor Love and Thunder right around the corner. This was a book that I had been looking for probably since I got back into the hobby a few years ago, and just never really had a good opportunity to pick one up. And here it is. So let's take a look. So right off the bat, there's definitely some issues down here in the corner. So that's probably by itself going to prevent it from being a 9.8. If that's the only problem, it could be borderline, but there's also just a touch of missing color right there. But really strong otherwise. A little bit of a bump here. Right there. Spine looks really good. I think there's one little color break. Very, very minor right there. Top corner, I'd say that's probably acceptable, typical. No finger bends on the front. That corner's pretty strong. Not bad. Yeah, I don't see... Yeah, no finger bends on the top there. Back corner looks okay. A little bit of color rub in here. Minor, but just a little. So, a handful of very, very minor problems, but unfortunately they add up. So, I have to give it a 9.6. I have to give it a 9.6 because of that corner and the fact that it just looks like it's not bent. I have to give it a 9.6. There's an outside chance it gets a 9.8, but I think just to be fair, I have to do it. It is completely flat. There's no creases or bends or anything, but just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful cover. So I'm super happy to own this. And again, the timing couldn't be better. So just absolutely love it. Fantastic. So great timing. Again, Dodderman on the art, one of my favorites. I'm a big fan. So it's just fantastic. So I'm going to rebag and board that one real quick, and then we'll move on to the last book. All right. I found a fullback. And again, I'm going to give it a 9.6. I would rather be wrong and have CGC say, nope, that's a 9.8, than the other way around. If I were to get that book back graded slab from CGC in a 9.6 white pages, I'd be extremely happy and would be very willing to hang this book on the wall. So absolutely love it. Thank you, Dark Dominion, for making this available. As soon as I saw it there, I was like, I had to grab it. So very, very cool. All right. Now, the last book is the main book. It's the book that I created this entire order around. I do this all the time where there is the one book that I want and I have to kind of build an order around it. I don't have to. I know you could just buy the one thing. But in going through sort of this exercise and unlocking or discovering, I guess, that Thor 1 is available, it wouldn't have happened if I just found this book and checked out. So I like to spend time on these online store sites. Like I said, I spend a lot of time categorizing, grading, and so forth. And sometimes it pays off. Let's see if it pays off with this one. This is Catwoman 43 with cover art by Sozamaika. So she is the hot artist. I've been tracking her for quite some time through her Red Sonja book and Catwoman incentives from issue 39. And I continue to buy these. This is the 1 in 25. And I just read this, that she actually filled Catwoman's glass with wine. And DC told her to change it, or they recolored it for her. I don't remember. And so that's actually supposed to be milk in there. Because they don't allow their characters to be drinking on the cover. So I thought that was interesting. But let's open this up and see what condition this one is in. So it is a cardstock cover. So I'm hoping that the defects are minimal, if at all. A little, just a touch right there on the corner. Let's see if I can just sort of fix it. My thumb. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. It looks more like a natural curve there. I think that's okay. I think what I'm noticing is as I move the light back and forth, let me catch it here for you. Right there is a faint line right in here. It's very faint. And I don't know if that's enough to say, well, there's a vertical crease or scratch. It's hard to tell where it starts. Is it here? Because if I just... Yeah, it's almost like it kind of goes from here to here. So it maybe 3 to 4 inches of it's like, I don't think it's a scratch, but it is a little bit of a crease. That's probably the best shot I can give you right there. You can kind of see it. But, again, like looking at it straight up and down, it looks like a 9/8, no problem. On the back, the only thing is my fingerprints were just added there, so I'll have to kind of wipe it down. But looks good otherwise. So it's one of those things where I've heard maybe some conflicting messages as far as what CGC will tell you. I'm just getting my fingerprints off the back there. CGC, I've heard mixed responses from CGC, where they will say if there is a defect that you don't see just using the human eye, then they will not, I guess, punish the book as badly as something that you definitely can see. And what I mean by that is if you have to use special lighting, black lights, and all these other things, they definitely acknowledge the defect, but they won't grade it as harshly as, say, a color-breaking spine tick that you can see. So I don't quite understand that, because a defect is a defect, whether you can see it or not, just using the naked eye. I don't think that really makes a difference. It's like, well, I looked at the book in the dark and it looked fine. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. So is this a 9/4 because of that? I don't know. And the more I look at it, there's also like just a little bit of a scratch up there too. Again, these are really hard to show exactly, but I'm being super nitpicky now. I think I have to I'm going to leave it as a 9/6. I don't think I can even press that out. It's very subtle and it's there. I just don't have enough experience with something like that to decide, is that specific little, I mean, you're talking about like a 16th of an inch, maybe little scratch or crease, and it's not a scratch. It just, it's the only way I can describe that just a tiny little bit of creasing or indentation there on the cover. Gorgeous cover. I mean, I don't think these two books really ever intended to be side by side, but I mean, super happy to add both to my collection. All right, well, regardless of the grade, let me show you what I paid for these, show you kind of what the order was, what I estimated out of the bundle for Dark Dominion Comics, and then compare them to fair market values and see how I did. Okay, here is that order breakdown from my order with Dark Dominion Comics. It was placed on May 17th, 2022. The total cost of the order was not $177.63. It was $178 even. I don't quite remember because all of these with a 16% discount, although I think it's 18. So I'm not exactly sure where either my math is wrong or the way that I remembered the order. I really thought this was 18%, but I couldn't quite get the numbers to add up. So when I look at my order details, it just shows all of these books bundled under a single price. And that's kind of the way the Shopify bundling system works, is that you're adding all of these different priced items into a bundle. It calculates it. Basically, it creates like this unique product ID, so to speak. So it's hard for me to go back and remember exactly what I paid. I just sort of did my best guess there. So it was $178 for these books. And then if I compare the fair market value to what I paid, and I did have to pay almost $14 for shipping here, and then I spread that $14 across all of the 12 books. And again, as long as the total cost in column N matches column Z, then I know that the additional shipping or tax, there was no tax in this case, but that it was applied to all the books evenly. Okay, so let's compare fair market value provided by cover price to what I paid. So in column AA, the raw value, just plain raw value. So no slabs, no nothing, just turn around. I'm going to sell each book online. It looks like I added almost $115 of raw value just by buying the books from Dark Dominion. So that's tremendous. Now, it's clearly being carried by the three big books. So this is something I think about a lot. Like, can I really add a lot of value to my collection buying just the cover price books? And sometimes you can, and a lot of times it takes that extra bit of investment in the bigger books and taking the chance and gambling. And not to keep harping on the Thor book, but boy, when I saw it, I don't want to say I would have bought it for any price. Obviously, there are limits, but I had estimated, I really believe that book was $60 from Dark Dominion. And with the Thor Love and Thunder trailer dropping, the timing just, it couldn't be better to pick this book up. And it's kind of like my last chance to get it before it really takes off. Better late than never, waiting to the last minute for sure. But even if it was a $60 book, with the 16 to 18% discount, and then applying 1/12 of the cost to ship the books, I had a total cost of $51.56 for a $93.20 raw book. So I love that. That was awesome. So that was the second biggest gainer in this order. The biggest was the Catwoman 43 Sozamaika variant. I paid $55.76 for the book, and it is currently sitting at a fair market value of $106. I love all of the speculators and investors kind of going back and forth on this book. Oh, it's not Sozo's greatest cover. Oh, yes, it is because it has Harley. None of that really matters. That whole debate, the chatter of whether it's a decent cover or not. It just boils down to who has it. So I have it. I love it. It's going to be part of my collection. I don't know if I will get it graded. I I'm still just like I'm hypersensitive around whatever that is on the cover. I'll be on the lookout for another one, but honestly, if this one is going for quadruple ratio, I'm probably just gonna sit back and be thankful for the copy that I have. Um, and then who knows, if the price continues to go up, then maybe this book is appealing in a 9.4 or 9.6. But for right now, I'm probably just gonna hold on to it. Uh, Love to display it somehow. I think it's a gorgeous cover, but I'm just gonna kind of leave it alone. The Thor book, I'm still contemplating whether or not that is worthy of sending in. You see what I did there? And I will think about it. And I'll look at the different grades here in a moment. CGC. The rest of the books are brand new, so there's no reason to break down, graded values of 9.4, 9.8 in this particular order. The other big winner was Shadow Warzone. Raw value gain of $10.58. Cost me $30.56 to acquire it, and it currently has a fair market value of $41.14. There were a few losses here. Again, Radiant Black. I mean that's screaming, a dollar or $2 book sale in its future. I hate this place was 13 cents less. I think it's just because of the shipping cost. It's basically a cover price book. Alice Ever After has a little bit of extra value, whereas Duo does not. Neither does X-Men Red 2. The Afro book is $3.91 of additional value, as that book is over $8 in fair market value for a raw copy. So, new books here or there, some are up, some are down. It really was those two incentives plus the Thor #1. Now, just for fun, if I wanted to add my grade on that Thor #1, if it were a 9.8, which I'm on the fence about, then GPA is telling me that it is $297. It's almost a $300 book right now in a 9.8. Another trailer, or the trailer, I should say, out for Thor. Is it going to give it another boost? I don't know. Again, I just feel like I got super, super lucky the fact that it was there. Now, if I just give it the grade that I think it is, which is 9.6, 181. So not bad. It is absolutely still a book worth sending in. That would have added an additional $97 of value to my collection, even in a 9.6. So I really don't see anything else wrong with it other than the little bit of color rubbing or color issue in that bottom left corner. Gorgeous book nonetheless, and would love to display that one as well. So the rest of the books are new. I'm going to just kind of leave it there. I think that all in all, when I end up grading these books, I will add those additional conditions and data into my summary for Dark Dominion Comics, but it continues to be not just a store that I will look to buy from regularly in terms of shipping, fast shipping, quality shipping, books in high grade, and so forth. It's a fun site. It's a Shopify site, but they have things on there. There are mystery boxes if you want to do that. Although even that, they're extremely limited. So I do like this. I don't know if they're doing it completely on purpose, but this store gives off this comic book hunting vibe, which is, I think, part of what makes the hobby fun, right? It's finding books, it's unlocking things. They just started a loyalty program. A lot of stores have this where as you spend money, you'll get some credit back where you can apply to either get a gift or a coupon or something like that. So you want to make the hobby as fun as possible. I have fun every time I'm ordering. I'm sure they have fun taking my money. But in all seriousness, it's a great store. It's very reliable. It's a newer store. But I've been placing some of my pre-orders there, although that's kind of tapered off a bit. But I do circle back sometimes if I feel like I want to pick up some new books. They're my go-to place right now. So I really appreciate it, Dark Dominion Comics. And thank you for watching. Happy collecting. and see you next time.